Hello friends, it's Trevor, it's Avery, it's Pat, it's the citywide special. The Eagles get crushed by the 49ers 42-19. Howie Roseman responds to the team's linebacker issues with the signing of Shaq Leonard. What can we expect from the veteran? And could more reinforcements be on the way? The Birds move on to another pivotal matchup against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night. Joel Embiid scores 50 points in a win over the Wizards that also sees the long-awaited return of Kelly Oubre. With the team finally healthy, can they take advantage of a weak upcoming schedule? The Sixers face the Atlanta Hawks on Friday. The Flyers continue to be kind of good, winning back-to-back games against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Tyson Forster scores 4 goals in their last 3 games. Can the Orange and Black keep it going? The Flyers face the Avalanche on Saturday. The Phillies signed manager Rob Thompson to an extension. The deal will keep Topper in red pinstripes through the 2025 season. What else can we expect from the offseason? All that more coming up right now. How's it going, fellas?
Good to be back. Always good to have the gang all fully back together and healed up. I think this last week was a little rough on everybody health-wise, but we're feeling better. I got my voice back. I'm feeling good. Had to sit out of that atrocious game. I wasn't the only person, I guess, sitting out that game this Sunday for the San Fran game, but feeling better. Happy to be back.
Yeah, feeling no pain. COVID. I won. You did not defeat me. Yeah, shout out to Dave Kiss, man. Dave Kiss filled it in admirably. He killed it. But I'm back, ready to, hang out with y'all for a couple hours, pretend like we like each other, and talk about our sports teams. Also have some bones to pick with y'all about last week's episode, which we will get to throughout this episode. But
I'm trying to think.
It's good to be back.
I didn't do nothing.
Nothing? Well, you're back to... You brought the table
I'm
down?
back on table duty. I'm, progressing towards normalcy.
Everybody watch out.
The return to normalcy is coming again.
Yeah,
who was that again?
That's Warren G. Harding.
Warren G. Harding.
He's become the official president of the Citywide
Special
Pod.
I was going to say, I think because the Republican debate or whatever was the other night, which I didn't watch.
Oh, I haven't watched
I
any
never
of them.
know when they're on, but apparently, I think it was Ron DeSantis, they said. I don't know if this was during the debate or he has mentioned this some other time, but he said that, like, his favorite president is Calvin Coolidge. And it's like, who the fuck's favorite president is Calvin? He was, like, terrible. He was one of the main Great Depression guys. I don't know.
Well, why would anyone I don't really know a whole lot about him.
Of course, it would be his favorite. Like, of course, it's Ron DeSantis' favorite president. He's like a fringe guy president. Like, it's not even like a legitimate president.
Like, he tried, he'd be a guy that tries to have some stupid, clever answer like that. Like, if it was Trump, it'd just be like, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln,
and me, the 3
Thomas
best
Jefferson.
ever.
Yeah.
Of course, it's Coolidge. But whatever, good for him. The dude can't smile, can't really communicate. He got roasted too by Gavin Newsom a couple days ago too.
Oh, for real?
Oh yeah, they had it. I don't know why they were.
They had some stupid. Yeah,
I don't know why they
Gavin
debated.
Newsom.
But dude, Newsom just fucking roasted his ass, and all that DeSantis did was sit there and do his weird
he's
not
so
smile
made for the spotlight.
He's not charismatic at all. Man.
He should just stay in the swamp.
Yeah, I think we were talking about him before on one episode, but I just keep thinking about he looks like an alien who's trying to mimic human
It's like that. It's like the Men in Black movie.
Body language.
Yeah, like when the beetle just takes over.
Or the cone heads.
Yeah.
He's one of the cone heads.
Dude, and his voice is just so not motivating. It's so demotivating just hearing him say anything. Sounds like
he can't give a rousing speech for sure. He
also looks like he's about to cry every time he talks, or he's the kind of person that if you're talking shit to would just start to tear up. You're like, all right, I thought we were messing around here. It's all good. He just gets all sad, which is very weird. I don't know.
Isn't he really short too and insecure about it?
Yeah, he wears heels.
Yeah, right. He has to wear shoes with 3-inch soles.
At that point, just do what everybody else does that's short and just have the little box behind the podium. That's all right. It's done. It's been done before. People do it.
Walking out there wearing really thick shoes, looking like a weirdo.
Dude, also one of the lines of the night, I just from seeing on making the rounds on social media, there's this video of what's her face?
Nikki Haley.
Yeah. Saying that because they're talking about the evils of TikTok.
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
a Chinese company.
Oh,
or
I
whatever.
did see this.
And
Yeah,
she
yeah,
says and she's saying this like as if she's citing some study that she read or something. And she says for every half hour that someone spends on TikTok, they become 17% more anti-Semitic.
17%.
It's like, where did you come up with that
You
number?
don't say.
Also, like, I
It's
mean,
very
if that,
exact.
yeah, I mean, if that were the case, I probably would have reached 100% anti-Semitism a few weeks ago, I would think.
Yeah, the house
Easy
would
to
start,
waste time on
your
there.
home decor would start looking a lot different. We walk in like,
Yeah.
damn, Trevor, what the fuck? Oh, it's TikTok again. I'm
Like,
sorry.
it's the apps. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to do this.
It's not
just-
me. It's TikTok.
It's Chinese information warfare.
Yeah, I can make great recipes in 30 minutes, and
Yeah,
I'm
the
very
recipes. Dude, TikTok is funny. Like, I just have our account on there, and I don't really like follow anyone. So like the For You page is just like whatever is like the most popular things on there. And it's
really?
Just, yeah, I guess that's how it works. I don't know what else the algorithm is pulling from, but like it'll be like lots of like like cop body cam
Oh,
like weird
God.
shit like that. And then
Really?
but then there's the other side where it's also like this guy schools this cop, which pulls him over, and just like it's like here's this guy that knows how to say like I don't consent to searches.
oh,
and
knows
it's
all
like,
the
"Got
random
his ass."
all the
Yeah.
random laws. Yeah,
Yeah.
cracks the window down this much.
The
you're like,
recipes
oh,
are funny too. I do get kind of entranced in those. I feel like there's a lot of them though where it starts off looking pretty good, and then it's like, and then we're gonna dump a mountain of cheese onto this, and I'm like, dude, that's so much cheese.
Is that where you got your
Like
mac and cheese recipe?
No, that was from YouTube.
Oh,
Oof.
okay.
Well, that's where you went wrong.
That one,
yeah.
I was
You should have been on TikTok, man.
They always
Probably would
suck
have
me
turned
in.
out better.
They always took me in when they start chopping up the onions though, and you hear that. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you got me now. Now I'm intrigued. I gotta see it. It hits the pan, makes a little sizzle. You're like, all right, I see it.
Yeah, you got to have sauteed onions and garlic, a little mise en place. You know what I'm saying? Anytime
yeah.
I see that, I'm in. That
You got
probably
me.
smells
I'm
good.
intrigued. Yeah.
Put some beef or some chicken in there. All right, now we're talking.
Now we're cooking.
Cooking with gas.
Yeah.
Damn.
I guess that's probably, was that a topic that came up in the Republican debates?
Cooking.
That the liberals want to take
I
our
don't
gas
know.
from us?
Maybe.
I know the Vivek, whatever his name is.
Ramaswamy?
Yeah, he came at Chris Christie though. They were talking about foreign policy. He was like, "Your extended foreign policy is you shut down the bridge for whatever that one time." And they were like, "Boo."
Bridgegate.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Damn.
He's an asshole.
Christie
too,
told him
though.
to shut the hell up. They're just, it's like
really? On stage, he said,
yeah,
shut the
he was
hell
like,
up.
just
at a
shut the
debate?
hell up. Yeah, it was,
Oh, man.
they're just spiraling out of control. But that's the Republican Party.
Yeah, we're not a
Debate.
political podcast.
Yeah, we're not doing that, but so that happened last night.
But yeah, I guess one of the things, yeah, Trevor, I was curious about this. Your mac and cheese, you said there was a YouTube recipe. What did it call
Yeah.
for? I'm curious. Like,
It was-
I'm curious how it went wrong. If you can like, remember.
well, I just remember the sauce is where it went wrong. I mean, that's like the main thing you have to make, I guess. So
Yeah.
it's like,
What did you put in to make the roux?
just melted like half a stick of butter, and then did like 4 tablespoons of flour,
Too much
Too
much
much
flour.
flour.
Not
You know
enough.
what you need.
and then I started putting in like
You're a Velveeta guy, aren't you?
and
Oh,
then I just started putting in like the whatever else, like heavy cream and
You needed some milk, dude.
Mm.
You needed
Just
some
straight up
actual
milk?
milk
yeah.
to dilute the heavy cream. That's probably why your shit ended up all
yeah,
like
maybe.
sticky with really thick consistency. You needed to wither it down like a little like whole milk.
Yeah,
Just so it-
yeah.
Kind of dilutes the heavy cream and some of the cheese. Because you also said you used, what was it? The pre-shredded cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they be adding starch and other shit to that.
Mm.
So yeah,
You
you
get that
always
chalky cheese.
you always gotta. It's annoying, but I always be hand grating my cheese.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, yeah, hell yeah, I put a little Velveeta in there. Not a lot,
Mm.
not a lot, but I'll put a little in. What do you mean? Mm.
I'm not. I went over this. I
Yeah.
will stick to
What kind of cheese you put in yours?
just regular cheddar, sharp, whatever. You know what I mean? But no Velveeta.
You
I don't,
just put one cheese.
no, multiple cheeses, pepper jack, whatever you need to
Okay,
put in
okay.
there. But not. I don't like the taste of Velveeta.
It adds
It's-
some texture to it.
It's something about it. Yeah, but if you make the roux the right way, the sauce could be fine without it. But
True,
it
yeah.
happens. I get it. I understand there's a big Velveeta pulling out there, and I'm not knocking that. I just choose to not live that life.
All right. We don't yuck other people's yums, but
Yeah. I'm not saying, you know what I mean?
yeah, I'm not yucking your yum either.
To each his own.
Yeah, Trevor, man, next time you do that, you got to add some, get him some milk. He needs some milk.
Yeah.
It sounded like the butter and the flour was the first
had too much, probably too much flour, yeah.
Half a stick, you might as well throw a whole stick in that thing. You can't go wrong with butter. I fucking love butter.
Yeah. Yeah, who doesn't love butter?
Hannah.
What?
She's always, I got to make sure she's not in the kitchen when I start putting butter in shit. And she's like, don't put too much butter. I'm like, well, then I'm like.
Butter's banging, dude.
I love butter. That Irish cream.
Oh, Kerrygold?
Oh.
Yeah, Kerrygold's
that's
live,
the only thing
yo.
I use. That shit rocks. Oh.
But yeah, I guess people that can't consume dairy probably don't like butter. Like Monica, you're probably listening. As long as you got your hearing back.
Can you use margarine?
Let me stop. But yeah, if you can't eat dairy, I guess you don't like butter. But there's butter replacements you can consume.
That's tough.
It gets the job done if you can't eat dairy. But anyway, yeah, that was one of the things I had. I got notes for pretty much the entire pod last week.
He kept receipts.
I listen to the pod when I'm not here, unlike someone. But hey, we can move on to...
I don't analyze everything all the time. I did the other day. Today was the first day I actually listened to a full one that took notes on the call.
But, yeah, you got to do that, man. You got to come prepared. Got to come correct. But speaking of coming correct, you know who didn't come correct? The Eagles.
The Eagles.
But brutal. Well, they were destined to fall. I mean, I think that there were high expectations to this game. I know that we called... That's why I listened to that last episode of when we called up all the not last, but it was one of the first 10 we did, highlighted the overview of the season coming forward. We all predicted us to really blow out San Fran. This is before we saw how the season unfolded. We were like, oh my god, we're gonna trash them. The place gonna be whatever. And as the season unfolded, I feel like we probably all collectively started to get a little more worried about this San Fran game coming up. A lot of shit talking back and forth the week before. It felt like a playoff game again. Another kind of nasty weather game. The team hasn't quite really clicked it into gear. And San Fran came to talk about being, like you said, prepared. San Fran came and they got us. They every which way. Defensively, they shut us down. Offensively, they could do no wrong. 6 straight touchdown drives.
Wild.
Yeah, that is unreal. Kudos to them. Hats off to them for beating our ass and all that shit. But the Eagles really have to. I'm tired of this all. We didn't play the state. It reminds me of the Andy Reid era where they're like,
I got to do a better job.
Yeah.
It was all me. Obviously, you're not playing to your standard, but fucking someone say something that's a little bit more yeah, man, we fucked up. We got to change something up here.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of the Jalen Hurts mantra. Is he never gets too high. Certainly, there were wins where. The Buffalo game where he could have gotten too high. And certainly there's been losses. The Jets game where he could have gotten too low. I think to his credit, that is his thing. He's always keeps an even keel. But at the same time, after you get blown out like that at home in a game that has that much juice, you do want to hear a little bit more of a response than we didn't play to this standard. We got to play to this standard. We'll do a better job.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah. It's the cliches get tired after a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of Eagles fans, me included, probably all of us included, are overreacting a little bit. But rightfully so. That was pretty embarrassing.
I think we were due for... we kept waiting for the reverse of that game where I feel like we were waiting for the team to have that breakout win where the defense clicked the full game, the offense clicked the full game, and we won a game by 14. It felt wow, okay, we're here, we've arrived. Where kind of maybe this is a silver lining of, okay, well, the reverse happened where we finally had a game where we got blown. The Jets game, we gave up. We didn't really get demolished. That was more so we just had a sloppy game.
Everything went wrong in that
A lot
game.
of tip balls that ended up being picks, and the defense killed us. The Jets' offense didn't really do a whole lot against us either. I think that the San Fran game was the first game where we actually they just look exhausted. I mean, you're coming out of the bye, you play a shitty game in prime time against KC, you sneak that out barely at the end. Then you come home, you play Buffalo, overtime in the rain.
Defense plays 92 snaps.
Tough fucking game. They pull that out. short week. San Fran had 3 extra days. No excuses, but this is the name of the game. You got extra time to rest. I'm sure their bodies needed it. They came prepared and cleaned it up. So I think that, as any fan, we would love to see a game where the Eagles finally pull it together. I think they needed this. People thought that when we went, we had that first loss that we were 7-1 against the Jets. Okay, nice. Like, they needed that loss to get back. That wasn't really a true loss because they gave up that game. This was our first, we got our ass handed.
Beat.
Yeah, you got your ass handed to us. Now you can really sit down, level set. You bring in some savvy vet. Let's see what we do here. But I don't know, man. This is a deflating loss for sure. That's got to suck. That's got to start making people think about shit in the locker room.
Yeah.
Time.
I mean, the thing is, I feel like there's a bunch of stuff in this game where things that we've kind of seen crop up throughout the season, and it's like, well, at least that's something that's fixable.
Right.
Coaching and stuff should be able to fix that, and we're still saying that shit at week 13. It's it's not really excusable anymore.
And I think certainly coaching is fixable to a degree. Play calling is fixable. Players executing is fixable. The personnel right now isn't very fixable. I mean, we brought in Shaq Leonard, but the Colts cut him, and they're a playoff team right now. They've won 7 in a row. So to expect him to really fix our issues at linebacker, I'm not convinced that that's going to fix what ails us. I mean, Nicholas Morrow bouncing off Deebo Samuel like he's just a basketball, pathetic. The pass rush not really getting home. Darius Slay getting outran when speed's supposed to be his calling card. Those aren't extremely fixable. I know Darius Slay's been banged up this week, so maybe that explains part of it. But regardless, we're not fixing our linebacker issue the way that we need to before playoffs start.
No, but I also think that you bring up Debo bouncing off of Morrow, Brock Purdy, put up 300+ yards on us. However, it all came, and you bring it up, 175 of those yards were on Morrow and 2 tuds on him.
That's awful.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other highest give up was Ricks, who's a rookie cornerback, 44 yards at a touchdown. Everybody else pretty much held it down. Slay only gave up 32, Bayard 4, Reed Blankenship 2 and a tutty, but that was, short whatever, end zone and all that stuff. But
who got run over by Purdy? Roby.
Probably Roby, yeah.
Roby went. How do you get run over by him? I could tackle him.
I think that in watching it, which was only the benefit of watching it at home, is that the commentator did make a good point where that it looked as though he thought Purdy was going to give himself up.
Still.
And but that's what gets people though now, where you go for that level setting hit, but they're on their way down, so it looks like you're hitting them in the head when really you were going for their hips in that split second. But then you make that pullback, and then they jolt a little bit, and now you look like an idiot because you're missing the whole tackle. But it was that game where everything that could go wrong just went completely wrong. I mean, we had that slight comeback in the third quarter, maybe early fourth, and then Debo gets a fucking 35 rip and just goes straight up to defense. That was just a pathetic game at that point. And I think that you get Cunningham back. I think you really missed him in that game because
for sure.
He's been a phenomenal linebacker.
He's been the best linebacker on the team.
I'd be curious, and not that would have changed the whole game, but I'd be curious to see, and I'm not moving on from the Niners debrief yet, but I'd be curious to see how they bounce back with Cunningham back, with Goddard back, and maybe Leonard intermittently. I doubt he's going to have a major role. We don't really use 3 linebackers like that anyway. But Bayard's coming into his own, which is good to see.
He's been playing good.
Again, I think it comes down to first quarter. Defensive front absolutely swallowed Brock Purdy.
They hit him once the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And offense comes out, 2 beautiful 75-yard red zone drives. You come away with 3 both times. That was pivotal right there.
Yeah. That's when it felt like the game was probably over.
You don't even come out with at least 7. You come out with 6.
Dude, the one play where Hurts just fell.
Yeah.
That killed us.
There were 2 sacks he took where he was in the pocket for 4 seconds, untouched, no pressure. And then you get a sack. It's like, how?
Especially that one, he just literally just fell.
You went from 2nd and 2, 2nd and 3 to 3rd and 15, but twice.
Yeah.
Because of him. And that's, people want to talk about MVP caliber quarterback. That's like a rookie move right there. I mean, you want to dance around and look for the wide open guy. I get that, but make a move, throw it out of bounds, do something. But you're backing up like you're fucking Dan Orlovsky over here running out of the back of the end zone. That was such a uncharacteristic play. And you want to talk about not playing to the standard. I don't even know who the fuck that guy was out there sometimes.
Yeah, it was statistically a decent game. 26 for like 45, 298 yards in the TD. But there were just so many plays where he's just standing there, has all sorts of time. Someone's got to be open, and he's just not doing anything.
Yeah.
He clearly, like you said, did not play to the standard. I mean, we do need to talk about this whole run the ball thing. People standing outside NovaCare with the sign that says run the ball. Shout out Philadelphia, man. You wouldn't see that probably in any other city.
No.
You know
and they had shirts
true.
made too.
Even better.
Yeah. 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. Yeah.
But how much do you think that the passing game suffered from their inability, or not even certainly their inability, but also just their lack of desire to run the ball? Oh, I asked a good question.
I gotcha. I think that, and we saw this last year too, right? When the whole city was like run the ball more, and then boom, next thing you know, we're ripping off historic numbers running the ball. 125 yards for Sanders, 80 yards for Hurts, and 75 yards for Boston Scott. Why? It's a head scratching move when you get rid of Sanders. You bring in arguably a better running back who's got better skills and better ball handling than the previous guy. You bring in a moose of a guy, Rashad Penny. Given his injury history, I get it, but he hasn't played.
It is wild that they haven't used him at all.
13 weeks.
Barely.
He's healthy. You would think by now. Boston Scott's back, and you have a 4-room running back room, and you could have used a roster spot to pick up a linebacker, make a move for a younger safety, or anything else that could have helped out the defense in the offseason, but you chose to keep that running back room stacked, and you don't use anybody. You don't even use the number one guy. I mean, I don't know. And then it affects clearly the passing game because, as Nick Bosa said, they figured it out. You shut down the B gap and make him run outside the tackles, Hurts, and he can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you force him to be a pocket passer. Boom. You take out the run. No one's afraid of him running. If they can contain a QB spy, you're good to go, especially with that linebacker core. And you're playing, again, a great defense in Dallas and a great defense in Seattle, who's got agility, speed, and youth to cover Hurts.
Yeah.
Without the threat you have to just do it just as a ploy. You can't run the ball less than 20 times, especially this time of year.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is all very good points. If you run the ball, they can't have that second safety dropping back in pass coverage. Yeah. I understand that A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both had really good games. Most of that was in garbage time. But at the same time, running the ball probably makes a lot of those reads easier for Hurts. Because that safety's not back there. The safety's dropping down to get closer to the line of scrimmage. They may have to play more 4-man fronts, 5-man fronts, 3 linebackers where you don't have as much speed on the field. So, yeah, I mean, people have pointed to the fact that, the Eagles weren't running the ball successfully anyway, so why continue to do it? Here's the thing, right? So, in that game, we had 18 total carries, including Hurts, for 46 yards. It's 2.5 yards per carry. I get it.
Right.
That's ass. But people think in the NFC Championship game, our offense was super efficient. We destroyed the 49ers on offense. We had 269 yards of total offense. In the NFC Championship game, we had 44 carries. 3.4 yards per carry.
Yeah.
So not maybe a yard more, but extrapolated over 26 extra carries. You're telling me that we couldn't have tried to run the ball a little bit more? They were 20th against the run in terms of run defense efficiency coming into this game, and we weren't down too much to just abandon it. I don't know. I've become the hashtag
also,
run the ball guy.
If you don't run the ball, then your RPOs just become play action because they're not afraid of. There's no run. Where's the run option? You're just faking the handoff every time. There's none of that. So
yeah, they don't have to respect it.
I don't want them to call their offense a RPO-based offense because they don't run the ball enough to warrant it. It's just a play action. Every now and then you might hand it off, but if the statistics show that most of the time you throw the ball, it's not an RPO.
Yeah.
And if it's a QB, it's mind-boggling to me that they don't do it. And your offensive line is still one of the best offensive lines out there. They prefer, because they're a little bit older, especially with Lane and Kelsey, to hit people. They don't want to sit back and have to pass block, which I will say in the first half and even second half, they did a tremendous job of pass blocking.
Yeah, he had plenty of time to throw.
Yeah, I mean, he had all fucking day.
Lane Johnson destroyed Nick Bosa
On multiple times.
Yeah, he was owning his ass, dude.
So I don't get it. And sure, we miss Dallas Goedert for sure because you can't quite trust Stoll or whoever else you have out there. At the same time, you have an all-pro wide receiver in A.J. Brown out there who was getting covered like flies on shit, which is fine. I get that. Devontae Smith had another phenomenal game. But you got to diversify the offense, man. Use those other guys. And I hate the fact that we had to use Gainwell in the goal line, red zone a lot this season because you have other people in the locker room, but use the other people that you have. Do something. I mean, I'd rather see you run the ball 8 more times and give it to Julio Jones on the wide receiver screen at 3rd and 8. Like,
that's just asinine, right?
It's just stupid. And some of that, too, comes down to Hurts being able to read defenses and call audibles that way. We're like, he's okay with calling an audible to pick up shit, but a lot of times, and I don't know if it's designed or not, he'll try to pick up the mic, and Kelsey has to look back and be like, no.
Yeah, you saw that in the KC game.
Yeah. So, and speaking of the KC game and running the ball, both games that we came back after being down by 10, Swift broke off for 35-yard crucial runs. Yep. The game against KC ran down in time to 15, and the game against Buffalo to set up the Hurts QB draw, 35-yard run up the gut too. So we might not run efficiently every time and get 5 yards of run, but Swift,
you still have to keep at it.
He has that playmaking ability that you can only get with 25-plus touches. It's better than having a 3rd and 8 and throw the ball or take a sack or, if you're not having impactful throws, you got to start running the rock.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully getting Goddard back this week is going to help with that. I don't know if it just becomes so much more difficult without him to run the ball that they shy away from it, but he is pretty huge in the run game.
Dude, he's the best run blocking tight end in the league at this point now that Kelsey's getting older and Kittle's still pretty solid, but
you don't want to. But you don't, after coming off a forearm injury, you don't want to I'd rather him be running routes, though.
He's going to be blocking, though.
I know, but not.
He doesn't care. He's a football guy, dude.
I hear you, but I'd rather not bury his arm again because he's doing run block shit. Because now the game you decide to run the ball 35 times is against the Dallas defense, and you're going to have Dallas Goedert run block every time. Like, you know what I mean? It just give that man ease him in a little bit. Because I could just see that biting us in the ass again, where you make him run block then for 25 snaps, and he snaps his arm again.
Yes, I guess that's a good point. But
even though he did do it on a passing play, but still, I'm just saying it's not. There's no way he's not going to feel pain come Sunday.
Yeah, he's going to be sore as hell for sure. But yeah, I mean, we can't sit here and say that they didn't win the game because they didn't run the ball enough.
No,
that defense was
Swift ain't playing defense.
ASS, dude, ass. Guess here's the question, right? How much do we worry about Sean Desai? I know after the Dolphins game, I sat here and said he's our best defensive coordinator since Jim Johnson. That was hyperbolic. We'll put it that way. But are y'all worried about him as the defensive play caller? Or are you more concerned about personnel, schedule catching up to us? What's your biggest concern about the defense? I'm
super concerned about the side because it just seems like a lot of how we were getting beat were just one-on-one matchups and just guys getting beat. Like the fact that the pass rush couldn't get to couldn't get to Purdy the whole game, and you had people not making tackles. I mean, at least like 1 or 2 of their touchdowns were just due to like a really bad missed tackle. Yeah. The guy gets a shit ton of yak. Like, so like, I mean, if the execution is better, we're probably not sitting here talking about Sean Desai. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I think, too, we touched on it. I mean, that was our biggest concern all offseason was the lack of just linebackers in general and how he's done a good job of doing patchwork. But the cornerbacks have actually done a very good job statistically all year. They're not all pro-level Pro Bowlers like they were the year before, but that's also because the defensive front isn't getting sacks like they did last year. However, like you said, the middle of the field, I mean, you're playing a team that eats the middle of the field between Debo, between Ayuk, McCaffrey, Kittle. They're not blowing off the top like Miami, which when Miami came to Philly, we could handle because we don't need a linebacker to cover Tariq. The safeties and the cornerbacks did pretty good. Shout out Reed Blankenship leading the NFL and NFC Pro Bowl votes for a safety, which is great. So like we're good with. You're not going to beat us over the top necessarily. You might rack up a lot of yards, which teams have done every week since week 1, But that's, like you said, to the middle of the field. I mean, we have no cover linebackers. You're missing that fast guy. I mean, and that's where they get you. There's nothing to do. I mean, you're not getting sacks, so there's not that much pressure, or at least enough to make huge of an impact where they're making bad throws. So, yeah, that's their biggest flaw. I don't think it's really this. It's hard to test Desai in this standpoint because the team as a whole just isn't being effective on the defensive side of the ball week over week. I mean, there's been every week they're giving up almost 400 yards of offense. So, I think it's more about the lack of linebackers than it is about Desai not being able to. I would be hard pressed to believe that, someone could come in here, Dan Quinn could come in here and make this team a top 3 defensive team.
Yeah, I think that's fair. On Sunday, I did question Desai at times, but looking back on it now, I mean, regardless of who's coaching, with the linebacker core that we had, we aren't going to be able to do a whole lot. I think the other thing that needs to be taken into account too is the schedule has been tough, right? Like, think about the amount of good teams we've played. Or good offensive teams. We know this schedule's been full of good teams. Played the Dolphins, who we held our own against. Played Dallas, we won that game, but their offense lit us up. Kansas City, we won that game. Defense played well in the second half. First half, not so much. Buffalo, we won that game, but Josh Allen destroyed us. Then San Francisco, Brock Purdy, MVP candidate Brock Purdy, I shudder to say. But he had a very good game against us. Not so much him, but Kyle Shanahan pantsed us in that game. He out-schemed our defense. He found the weaknesses in our defense to pick on, which are over the middle of the field. So, yeah, I'm not as panicked about Desai as I was on Sunday when I wrote this down that I would ask y'all about it. But at the same time, defense has to play better because, we've played a bunch of elite teams. What the hell are we going to see in the playoffs, right? Elite teams, right? I
think, though, that the coordinator that I'm more concerned with, really, and I know that Nick Sirianni covers a lot of the play calling, but I think Brian Johnson is more of the one that's like, I don't know if he's ready for the coordinator role because even like you go back to the Super Bowl that we won, this team historically gives up yards as a defense does. Like this team, we haven't really had a defense like you mentioned, like Jim Johnson and all that. Like we haven't really had a defense that people are afraid of from a secondary perspective. We have more like flavorful guys that will like get a pick, but no big hitter. People get yards on us passing wise. Typically, we might have a good run defense, but that's about it. But usually the offense can go toe to toe, and I'm more concerned with the fact that there is no weakness from a positional standpoint on offense. Defense, you can say, okay, we have a young defensive front with 2, rookie and Jordan Davis coming into his own. No linebackers really that you can rely on. An older safety group with Reed Blankenship and a secondary that's kind of holding on.
Reed Blankenship's not old.
No, but Bayard though right now, like half and half. Yeah, okay. You got, all right. But offensively, you have 2 number 1 receivers just about. You have a savvy vet in Julio Jones. You have a stacked running back crew. You got Jalen Hurts. You got Dallas Goedert, a top 3, O-line in the NFL. Brian Johnson's the one you got to look at and be like, what? Like, how do you not have this offense and, like, do something with it? That's the biggest concern. Why is it that when you come into every game, your top 5 plays, one of the ones in the mix is either a QB draw or a wide receiver screen in a third down position? Like, what? How does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, certainly as Dave brought up last week, the first 15 plays, 20 plays of every game are scripted, and Nick Sirianni has a role in that, right?
Yeah.
But some of these red zone calls, I mean, the QB draw has worked a lot for us in the red zone, but there have also been plenty of plays in the red zone that Brian Johnson's called that haven't worked. I mean, for whatever reason in this game on Sunday, the red zone plays did not work. Some of that's certainly player execution, but some of that just, dude, you got to do a better job calling these plays.
And Brian Johnson's been here. At least Desai, it's his first year here, new team.
He was a QB coach last year.
Learning the personnel. Desai's been here. He knows how the offense operates and runs, how Nick Sirianni runs his offense. That's really where I'm concerned about. Desai, that'll work itself out. The defense has played this way really all year. But Brian Johnson, for me, is the biggest concern coming into the end of the season, potential, and the playoff run. If they can't click, we're fucked. We're done.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like maybe this isn't like fair, but it's just kind of the reality that there's going to be more pressure on Brian Johnson than Sean Desai because the way the team is built.
Yeah,
this team wins by outscoring people. They don't win with defense.
Right.
You know that. So going into the season, like you knew that this is a team that's going to need to, be able to put up 30+ points like without a lot of effort or whatever. So. Yeah, it's just like maybe he's not that bad, but it's like you need to be really good.
You just got to do
offense
something.
Needs to be really good.
There's no creative is not an adjective you would use to describe this Eagles offense this year.
Yeah, I mean,
very vanilla.
We saw creative with the 49ers. Some of their motions are so simple, but they're so effective. Where they motion the tight end from one side of the line of scrimmage to the other, they see the run fit, then McCaffrey's running to that side.
It's hard
to stop. The
Eagles
don't use even like. I shouldn't say they don't use any motion, but the Eagles are among the lowest ranked teams in terms of motion used. I get some teams use motion just as a gimmick. Sean McVay probably uses motion sometimes just as a gimmick. But the 49ers use it effectively. The Eagles don't. The Eagles, they call a jet sweep maybe once a game, once every couple games. Other than that, we don't ever really see any trick plays. I'm not calling for a flea flicker every game or
but something. Make the defense double take, and then get him next, do something different the next time. But it's just very vanilla and stagnant.
It's very collegey. It still is.
It's boring.
But, I don't really have any other notes about this past Sunday's game. Oh, wait, I do. I don't have it in my notes. What about Big Dom, dude? He showed up ready to play.
Yeah, dude. The man.
Yeah, man. Took a little lick to the nose.
So apparently, I didn't see this on TV. I watched this altercation multiple times after Dre Greenlaw throws Devontae to the ground, which was rough. I can understand Big Dom being like, hey, don't do that to my guy. Apparently, Big Dom got in his face and actually made contact with him first. Did you all see that?
He did technically touch him because Greenlaw's hit actually, they were in bounds. They weren't out of bounds at all. It was just a rough throw to the ground. And you can see Dom did get into the white part, on the sideline first. And I don't think he touched, I didn't see him touch him though, but he did get real close. Yeah. But, game's a game, baby. It's just discipline on, I'm sure there's been a lot of times where a coach has touched another player, but a player to swing at a coach, that's a little bit of a,
Yeah. The whole thing made it even more disappointing to me that we got our asses kicked because if we had pulled it out, this would have been known as the Big Dom game.
Yeah, it would have been so galvanizing, right?
Yeah. Because we were kind of starting to push our way up the field at that point.
It's close enough.
Happens, and it feels like, all right, here's the little catalyst that we need to turn us around, and it was not so.
It's the Italian little flag for me on the shirt too.
Yeah, he is Italian as hell, man. Dom DeSandro. DeSandro is Italian as hell.
But then he was there to pick up Shaq, which is cool. We picked up Shaq Leonard, which is sick.
Yeah, Big Dom's the man.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny trying to explain to someone who isn't familiar with him who he is and what his job is or whatever. Right. I was having dinner with Constance the other night, and she was asking who is that guy that got into the fight or whatever on the side. I was like, oh, that's Dom DeSandro. He was is he a coach? I was like, well, no. It's what is he? I'm like, he's the head of security. I was like, well, what does that mean?
He's our security guard.
He's just kind of he's our guy. He's the guy.
He does everything.
He picks up freebies from the airport.
I think the best way to put it would be if someone in the Eagles needed to get rid of a body, Dom would be the guy that they would call
for sure
to help make that happen.
They were it's just a Monday, it's this little mob job to money laundering scheme. He doesn't really do anything. He doesn't need this job. He's just there for whatever else. But I love when you watch it and they're fuck it, Big Dom highlights, and he's holding up the railing for
hilarious. Yeah, apparently Fletcher Cox goes on the PHLY Eagles podcast every week. He was talking about how Big Dom has the players back to the point he'll take them to get driver's licenses and stuff.
Oh yeah,
he's essentially I'm convinced he's essentially the team dad.
Oh yeah, big time. They after that, during that game too, Chris Long even posted a picture of a selfie with him and Dom too.
I saw that.
And then they asked Bo Allen, they were like, all right, what's your favorite Dom story? He's like, I couldn't tell you my favorite one because I can't say that on the
Yeah,
air.
Fletcher
like,
Cox said the same thing.
I remember even before the draft when they were explaining, like when it was came out that like after they drafted Jalen Carter or whatever, and it was like, oh, were they concerned about these like character things, blah blah, and it was like, no, we sent Big Dom to talk to him, and he cleared him. He's good, like he's good to draft or whatever.
What do you think that conversation's like? Like Big Dom walks up like, "Hey, you fuck around too much, I'm gonna break your knees."
Yeah, I mean, the guy, it's a funny fucking thing. I don't understand it, but I love it. It's hysterical. Sucks to.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's been with the team for like 20 years,
forever.
too.
He
Yeah,
had
you see
hair-
pictures of him when like he first started. I'm like, damn, that's the same guy.
Yeah.
The team made him bald. All that stress. Watch out for all these young guys coming out of college. It's like an actual dad, just bald and stressed, and yeah, man. But it sucked he got kicked out. I'm glad they all gave him a little standing ovation. But I did think at one point I was like, maybe this is the kick they needed to turn this game around. And they did
It
drive a
seemed
little
like
bit.
it for a little bit.
And I
Yeah,
don't even think they scored a touchdown. They scored a field goal again. I'm like, all right, well, this ain't it. It's not enough. You can't be doing that when they're scoring. No, we did score a touchdown, but then they
but then
scored
that's
again
when
right
Debo
away.
came back and
Yeah,
scored
it
that
was
run
like,
you were talking
yeah.
about.
All right, well, there goes that right there. This wasn't our game, and that's okay. But it feels good to have a come to reality. Get your ass beat. Let's see what they do against Dallas.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to Dallas. To quote their ever obnoxious, actually, I guess, good quarterback. Yeah. Here we go.
Here we go.
I'm not looking forward to hearing that 60 times a game. Oh, man.
Do you think he says that before he has sex?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Isn't his wife or his significant other pregnant?
He's married?
He's gonna be in there when the baby's
Yeah,
being
he's gonna
born.
be-
Like, yeah, here we go.
Oh, God.
It's the most obnoxious
Yeah.
thing in football, man.
He'll probably have to
corny
get
guy.
put under, though, to watch that, though. But you can't stay.
Yeah, you know.
Oh yeah, he'll pass out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
He'll
gonna
pass out
faint
from
the
it.
waiting room.
Put me under. I'll wake up when it's out. She'll be like, what the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I see this being a... again, I think my gut was that we were going to lose last week. I know I got chewed out for that as a Philadelphia fan. However, reality, again, Dallas is
Yeah.
on a weird streak of 12 straight wins at home. They're all jazzed up. Again, they have 13 days to prepare. I don't know how we got stuck with that luck of the draw where we played two teams coming off of Thursday night football games, so they have 13 days to prep for us. Yeah, man, it could get ugly real fast again, I think. It all hinges upon our offense playing well and efficiently, because we know that this offense for Dallas on our defense is going to put up astronomical numbers. If anything is a tell from last game. They're at home. They're jazzed up. There's a lot depending on it. There's a kink in our armor now that we're 10-2 and they're 9-3. Not only number one seed is at stake, but the division is at stake here, which we can go from number 1 to number 5 like that. So I think that the Eagles have to have a huge bounce back game. I don't want to put too much pressure on it, but like you fucked up, man. Like if you had won that game against the Jets, you'd probably be in better shape to take this as an L and not be too bad about it, 10-2. But now coming in 10-2 and they're 9-3 on this hot streak, I don't see it being a good game.
You don't think Shaq Leonard's going to make a difference?
Again, I think not until 2 weeks from now. I think it's too soon to come to the team.
The length.
Yeah, those
there
what,
keeps
36, 34, 36-inch arms?
Yeah, we didn't really
Your
get into the
arms are
Shaq
probably
Leonard
that
thing.
long.
Yeah,
How long are your
show me
arms?
in there. They're pretty wide.
They're long as fuck.
They get out there.
We gotta have a wingspan.
36 inches? Way more than that.
We got to have a wingspan measure.
Because that's already 3 feet. That's at least...
I think my wingspan is more than my height, actually.
I'm sure it is,
I
but
bet
you
you
are
it's-
tall, though.
What? I bet you it's 72 inches.
So that'd be 36 inches.
Because your arm is like 3 feet long.
Yeah, it gets out there.
You got a
Well,
yardstick?
if you go tip
I
of
don't have a yardstick.
a finger to the shoulder, I bet you that's a yardstick.
Yeah, maybe.
You got a yardstick at home?
Yeah, bring it.
I got
next
a tape
time.
measure.
Yeah, we got to measure our wingspans. Yo, we should have a scouting combine, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You gotta get
If
those.
you got
little-
some weights, we can do the bench press.
Yeah, we gotta get that thing for see how high they jump. That has a little. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta
No,
get one of
fuck that.
those.
I'd be that guy that does the little thing where like you're looking left, looking right, looking left, and they get hit in the face with the right ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I ain't jumping too high with this bunion, dude. Those days are behind me.
Mm-hmm. My 40-yard dash is probably like 8. I give myself an 8.5.
You're probably fast. Yeah, I think you're selling yourself short. You're probably faster than that.
I don't think so. My sprint is very much a sprint. Like, I'm talking like a 10-yard. And then I slow down.
Yeah, I can sprint pretty good. It's long distances I can't do.
40 yards is longer than you think. 40 yard, that's not a sprint to me.
I could probably do 40 yards in about 5.5, 6 seconds.
I think the average person
I could probably do about 6 seconds.
6? Tom Brady ran a 5.7. Can you beat Tom Brady?
Probably.
I don't know, man.
I think I could.
Well, hey, we'll have to.
Yeah, we'll have to have our scouting.
Yeah. Well, dude, come next year,
that'll be the NFL draft. We'll have a whole thing.
Yeah.
That'll be good for TikTok.
Yeah, mark this down.
But anyway, so Shaq Leonard, we can talk about him. Trevor, you're right. We didn't really talk about it. So Eagles brought him in. He chose us over Dallas.
Which was after we got our ass beat.
Yeah, surprisingly, right.
And they beat an actual team over 500, no.
Seahawks were 500. I forget.
Beat a team that's barely 500. I was surprised by that. I think, I don't know. That was shocking to me that he came here, to be honest. I thought that was going to be our second L of the weekend, was he would just go to Dallas, and then we'd have to play him, and then
yeah, he'd have a pick six against us or
something
ridiculous.
Some crazy shit. Yeah, maybe take out Hurts for the game or something like that. I think he's going to be a non-factor in the game on Sunday. He might have a couple tackles, but I think Cunningham is the bigger linebacker to come back.
Yeah. I think Shaq Leonard probably won't be as, I don't want to say useless as Julio, but as ineffective as Julio, but I'm not expecting a whole lot.
Yeah. I feel like you pretty much just want like a replacement level guy.
You don't need
better
a whole
than
lot.
Morrow.
Yeah.
He's 28. Had 2 back surgeries already.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not the best you want to hear from a linebacker, however long his wingspan is.
I mean, what's interesting about him, like I have a couple nuggets here.
Linebacker, more like a broken backer.
Yeah, more like broke back,
right?
broke back, like a broke backer.
Shitty backer.
Yeah, we got the guy with the broken back playing the Cowboys. It could get interesting. Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
I was going to say, some might say we're going to climb Brokeback Mountain. I was about to say that, yeah.
I think it's a very good movie, yeah.
I don't know if I ever saw it.
It's always funny the guy who made that movie also made like that one like Incredible Hulk movie.
The one with like the bad one?
Like with the first one that had like what's his name in it?
Lou Ferrigno?
No. Like it had the guy Ed Norton.
Oh, Ed Norton's Hulk, and then the orange guy was in it too.
That's the same director?
Yeah. Fuck, I'm blanking on his name, but yeah, it's the same guy. Well, you guys talk. I'm gonna look.
That's unusual.
Interesting. He really turned his life around.
But yeah, I mean, I guess speaking of our Brokeback linebacker.
Ang Lee.
Oh,
right?
Okay. I know an Ang Lee. But yeah, as I was saying about Shaq Leonard, man, I think he's kind of washed, personally. I'm not really expecting a whole lot. At the same time, like Trevor was saying, we just need replacement
bodies,
level play.
baby.
You know what I mean? And a couple interesting things about him. He's not really a third down linebacker. So I don't know how much utility we get out of him. I think Morrow's still going to be on the field on third downs a lot. In 9 games with the Colts, Leonard played 21 third down snaps. That's not over like 3 games. That's over the course of 9 games. So they weren't really using him in on third down. And then this nugget from Brooks Cubans, writes for The Athletic, covers the Eagles. He said this is the most important point when projecting Leonard's impact with the Eagles. He was not an every down linebacker for the Colts this season. In 9 games, Leonard played just 15.7% of the defense's third down snaps, according to True Media. Leonard often voiced frustration about his usage. It's quite likely that mixed signaling from the Colts coaching staff trained their relationship to the breaking point. He rushed back from his back surgeries too soon in 2022. The Colts initially characterized his limited snap share to begin 2023 as easing him back on the field. It was an interesting rationale when Leonard was essentially an every down linebacker on first and second down. Played 81.2% of first and second downs weeks 1 through 4. Then after missing 1 game with a groin injury, played 89.6% of first and second downs in weeks 6 through 10. So clearly they trust him on rundowns, or they did. The Colts did. They did not trust him on passing downs. So I mean, if our concern is Jake Ferguson, Tony Pollard burning us over the middle, I think that's still going to happen Sunday.
He also directed Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh!
Great movie.
In 2000. And in 2003, he did
Damn,
Hulk.
that movie's 20 years old?
Yeah, then did Brokeback Mountain after that in 2005.
Damn, Brokeback Mountain's
So
almost 20 years old?
Damn, this guy can make a movie about the Incredible Hulk.
When did he do that one?
That was in 2003.
He had a good run there.
Yeah. Damn, I can't believe all these movies are that old.
Yeah,
We're getting old yet.
Yeah, that Hulk movie isn't the best one, but, shout out Edward Norton. That's a good one. But yeah, I think Leonard, I don't think we can expect the Hulk to show up, play for us on the Sunday night football against Dallas in Dallas. I think that I'd love to see it surprise us. Would love to see that. I hope it's close. I don't want us to see another 49 or 42 to 21 kind of game. Could it get to that? Definitely. The potential for us to get buried again happens. But I think, again, it depends more upon, can Brian Johnson go back, look at the playbook, look at the players he has, and what does this offense do to bounce back? You're playing another top 3, maybe the best defense again in the NFL. What does that happen? I mean, the defense is going to give up yards. It's just is what it is. Dak Prescott's playing at an MVP level, as much as it pains me to say that.
Here we go.
But he is. I mean, the offense is cooking. CeeDee Lamb, first half of the season, didn't really get a lot of love. He made a little hissy fit like A.J. Brown did and is on a fucking tear. Pollard showed up last week against a decent defense and cooked for the first time all season. So
even Brandon Cooks has been balling.
They have weapons, and they're not dissimilar from San Fran. And you best believe they looked at that San Fran game and was like, okay, well, let's see what we can do then to contain Hurts and make them throw some weird passes. So I think this game really depends on what the offense decides to do from an identity standpoint. And I don't want to hear, which we'll probably hear again, of we got to play to the standard and keep the main thing. But if you lose 2 games in a row, then the main thing right now is losing. And that's not what I want to keep the main thing. Yeah. So fucking focus on being more efficient and effective with the ball. If you got 5 seconds in the pocket, air that bitch out or throw it away. We don't need you to run around and you're not Michael Vick or Randall Cunningham, no matter what color jersey you're wearing. Figure it out. You can't be doing that rookie move shit and expect to win games when you're playing teams that are coming for you and that are vying for the number 1 seed.
Yeah. I think we need to see a big offensive bounce back. Your defense is gonna hold Dallas down.
If you're gonna throw the ball too, then make some aggressive throws. Have A.J. Brown rip that shit out there. Do some things that are going to be good to throw at then. Don't just do little bubble screens or dink and dunks here and there. Be aggressive.
See, I'm of the opposite mind there, where I think they need to get Hurts going with some easy throws. Think about it,
that's all they do.
Yeah, but they're throwing him to the wrong people. You know what I mean? They're throwing him to Julio Jones, Jack Stoll. Dallas Goedert's going to be back. Throw him a 5-yard, flat route. Throw him a 5-yard stick route and let him just get some yak, get Hurts' confidence going. And then you set him up to have some success over the top. I mean, Deron Bland, for all his pick sixes, is susceptible to getting beat with some deep throws, but you kind of have to make him respect the short throws first, and then you can go over the top with him. But the other thing is, what's this guy's name? Not Derek Carr, David Carr. You seen him talking shit?
The Mariota comment?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So do you think Hurts saw that and was like, okay? Well, what did Hurts say before the Super Bowl last year? He was like, I had a purpose before they had an opinion. You think that's going through his mind right now? He's like, I got a purpose for this scrub who was out of the league in 5 years ever had an opinion.
I think he's going, who said that? David Carr? Pat. That doesn't even warrant a comment.
Oh, okay. See, I'm hoping it kind of motivates him.
I think it doesn't even warrant a comment. That guy is a fucking bum.
Yeah, he needs Shaq to tell him that.
Yeah, Shaq needs to be like, yo, I wasn't familiar with your game.
Yeah. David Carr, I think what they need to do is shut the fact that they're letting these bum-ass people that couldn't even play in the NFL obviously they physically played in the NFL, but
I barely even know who David Carr is.
You got David Carr, you got Dan Orlovsky. That pretty much tells you exactly
why he says these things.
Right.
Yeah.
Dan Orlovsky making comments about shit. You guys both are more iconic for being bad at quarterback than you. How did you deserve to get here?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't read anything into those comments. Shio Kapadia actually kind of low-key accused him of being racist, which he's not wrong about. I mean, anytime a black quarterback struggles, so he can't read, put the white guy in.
Yeah, I don't think he said anything about that. I think that Hurts just has to just get out of his head a little bit, settle down with the fucking MJ quotes, because you're not quite there yet. You haven't really won anything in the NFL. You haven't won MVP. You haven't won a Super Bowl. You know, you won a starting job. That's great. You won the love of the city. Yeah, I get that. But now you got to start winning some shit, get some hardware, because those quotes are going to start falling flat.
Exactly.
And this city
the cliches are going to get tired.
This city's going to turn real quick if you don't start putting up decent numbers. But that's all I got to say about them.
All right. Well, one of my bones to pick was that y'all spent too much time on the Eagles last week, but here we are spending a lot of time.
Yeah, we're like pretty much at
it's like 50 minutes.
Spending a lot of time.
Or are we want to wrap up and do score predictions?
Yeah, let's do our score predictions real quick.
Oh, okay.
Who wants to go first?
You're both looking at me. All right, I'm gonna go 34-28. I'm gonna go 34-31 Dallas.
Okay, you got it a little closer than I do. So the line is Cowboys -3.5. I wouldn't be surprised if that jumps up to Cowboys -4.5 before the game. I don't think we're getting much respect, deservedly so, after last week. I think Dak lights us up. Our offense does a decent job, but just can't keep up late. Cowboys win their 15th game in a row at home, 36-27. The thing is even if we lose this game, the division's still very much ours. Their schedule's hard. They still have to play the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions. Our schedule after Seattle's cake, so we can still win the division. But yeah, I think we lose this game.
Yeah, I also have this as a loss. I'm going to say 31-24 Dallas.
You lose this game, you lose the number 1 seed.
Yeah, not great, but there's some season left yet. But speaking of the Cowboys, before we move on, one of my bones to pick is on the last episode I was on, you said that Washington was going to beat the Cowboys and you bet a shot.
Damn.
Where was that shot last week? Even though I wasn't here, you still should have done it.
I'll do it today. I got to do it today. I forgot.
You got liquor?
No, I don't.
Well, next week I'm bringing some liquor.
I'll do 2 next week. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that was one of my bones to
I'll do
pick.
a shot with interest next week.
All right.
That's
Works
fine.
for me. Cool.
Before we completely move on from football, I feel like we got to talk about the Sean McDermott thing. Did you guys hear about this?
The 9/11 thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw people say he apologized for a comment about 9/11, but I didn't know what he said.
I was like, it's December, though. What the fuck?
So this was this guy, Tyler Dunn, wrote an article, published his Substack or whatever, that I guess is like pretty thoroughly researched and is pretty much is a deep dive into Sean McDermott and why they should let him go and why he's been so disappointing and this and that. I couldn't read the whole thing because it was behind a paywall, but this one passage of it that's been going around that I guess has been corroborated by a bunch of different people, so like it's true. Here's this part. It says, at St. John Fisher College in Pittsburgh, New York, McDermott's morning address began innocently enough. He told the entire team they needed to come together, but then sources on hand say he used a strange model, the terrorists on September 11th, 2001.
What?
He cited the hijackers as a group of people who were all able to get on the same page to orchestrate attacks to perfection. One by one, McDermott started asking specific players in the room questions. What tactics do you think they used to come together? A young player tried to methodically answer. What do you think their biggest obstacle was? A veteran answered TSA, which mercifully lightened the mood.
What the hell?
What the fuck?
It's so fucking funny. And yeah, he came out and like apologized about it today or whatever. But
wow.
I mean,
damn.
I get where his head's at, I guess, from a team
yeah, he was saying you were talking about getting on the same page and
about accomplishing a mission against all odds.
Wrong example.
Yeah, dude. That is brutal. And when did he say that?
2019.
That was in 2019.
Yeah.
A team meeting.
All right. Well, at least it was
like
17 years or so afterwards. But damn,
we're gonna
really take that.
Yeah, we want to get.
We're gonna be like a bunch of terrorists.
Yeah, we want to take down this team.
We want to get in there and just blow them out, just like Timothy McVeigh City.
We want to infiltrate the team. We want to really take them down pretty good. That's brutal. That is what an odd That guy's
It's so weird. He's already like that
been on the
top
hot
of this
seat,
like disappointing season they've had. It's just like, god damn. Like, dude, imagine being like the in like the PR department.
I was just
for
gonna
the
say
Bills.
that. Yeah,
That's just I feel like that being one of those like PR guys, and I'm sure it's just like a million different people that do it or whatever. But like, just how there could just be nothing going on for the longest time. Then like
you find a gem.
all of a sudden you get a little email that says McDermott story 9/11 panic like, and it's like
oh,
god damn it.
shit.
It's just red alert, red
kidding
alert.
me?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I mean, that is what a wild analogy to make. Did they win the game?
I don't know.
I mean, it would be funny if they came out and like blew him out. Well, I mean, obviously
Yeah.
it would be
yeah.
horrific.
I mean, they might have blown him up.
Yeah. They scored one touchdown, and then
Yeah.
when they thought it was over, they came in and scored a second touchdown.
Jokes on Sean McDermott. They all turned on each other. It's like, oh shit, I didn't do this the right way.
Oh man.
Damn, what a odd. He's a freak, man.
He's out after this year,
Yeah.
unless they somehow make the playoffs. He's out.
This team are facing. They got they got a weak secondary, play a lot of soft coverage. So we're going to be airing the ball out. We're going to be throwing.
What are we throwing bombs?
We're
all
going to
day?
be. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna spray the ball around just like Stephen Paddock sprayed all those bullets down on the Las Vegas Strip.
That is unreal. What a nut. And that's just what they found. I mean, this guy probably did
there's
some other
probably-
weird shit.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
What's he hiding?
Other kind of weird bad historical references. People are worried about TikTok and shit. This guy is a loose cannon out here.
Yeah, he ain't talking to Warren G. Hardin. He
This-
might be a John Wilkes Booth guy.
This guy's like a plane off your radar. Never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but it's a nice fun bit of NFL news.
Yeah, amongst the dread that is the Eagles. But it's like I say the dread now. Watch they turn around and win.
I'd rather be cautious. They need to have a little shit talk. We haven't shit talked them at all, really.
Yeah,
That bad.
right. We've kissed their ass for a while. They need to feel the wrath.
You know what they need? They need Trey Turner's mom to give them a call, tell them that they suck.
That's a good idea. I guess speaking of Trey Turner, we can move on to the Phillies quick. What do we got about the Phillies? They extended Topper.
Signed-
Yeah.
Sign Topper. No other really big move. Harper, I did see something that Harper wants to get
Trying to
another
get an
deal
extension?
done.
Yeah.
What?
Well, not an extension, but you've seen this before, where like Machado has restructured his deal.
So he wants to restructure for more. I mean, we get it, dude. You love this. I will say this. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love Bryce Harper, but like, you don't gotta fucking blow bubbles up our butt all the time. Like, we get it, man. Like, you love it here. We love you. Cool, man. Like, just fucking let's get a World Series win in here. Like, I get it. You're gonna be. I
Him
want
and Sirianni are the same way with that. They pander too much.
Yeah, he's like, I want to be buried in Citizens Bank when I die. Like, all right, man. Like, cool, we get it, dude. Like, relax. Like, you get. All right, we're over it. We got you. You're here. What is a 13-year deal when he first signed?
Yeah, he's going to be 38 at the end of this. I don't think he's asking to make it longer.
Does he want to restructure it to a friendly team deal to make
I
the
think
money
it's
better?
to make a little more money because of inflation.
Well, fuck that shit. No, man, you're good to go. What the fuck? No. What?
Not
No.
my money.
No.
Inflation's a motherfucker, though.
I don't care.
Oh, and I'm sure it's really hitting Bryce Harper in the
Eh.
pockets. Fuck that shit. No.
I'm not here to defend a rich guy, but
Sounds
I'm
like
saying
you are a little bit. Look at that
would,
smile.
I would negotiate more money too if I signed a deal 5 years ago.
13
Inflation's been something.
If you
I saw the idea of Bryce Harper checking out at the grocery store, being like, "God damn, this is ridiculous."
Some athletes be like that. You seen Jimmy Butler at the gas pump? The one you seen that?
yeah, but that's more
Yeah.
comical though. He's not going right to the fucking GM though, being like, "We got to restructure this deal real quick because inflation just hit me." Fuck. Then maybe don't have 5 kids and be a Mormon. Then I don't know what the fuck
He
to
ain't
tell you
having
here.
5 kids. He has 2.
Well, right now, but that's what it's all about. He's trying to have a little compound, probably a little Mormon compound, a little freak ass. No,
Fair enough. I mean, like I said, I'm not defending a rich person, but I kind of get it. But yeah, as far as Topper goes, right? I think they extended him through the end of next year
yeah,
because he was going to go into this year being a lame duck.
I like that.
You don't
move.
want to do that.
I feel like he would have been okay with it because he kind of did better.
He did say he's like, I've been a lame duck for 27 years.
Yeah, I don't think he's the kind of guy that cares about. He's not like a young, like, you know, I could see like who do we have before, the fucking Jack dude that sucked.
Kapler.
I could see him be like, oh man, like I don't know if I want to stay here or be like on a new team. Topper, you got arguably. There's not many teams with this loaded roster that you can go to as a lame duck guy. Like, he'd have been fine. I like the move just from a continuity standpoint, maybe like a comfortability for the whole team.
The players certainly seem to like playing for him.
Yeah.
I feel like that's half the thing with baseball managers. It's like,
people like to play for the guy. They don't really do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it also helps with like, boom, it takes out a year's worth of fucking. You get into a 10-game losing streak, and he's a lame duck coach. It's like, are they going to move on from top?
Right, they could just fire
and then
him.
it's a whole nother, just
and that's hanging over
cancer
his
in the
head,
locker
the
room.
team's head.
Yeah, get that out of the way. They're focused on the main.
They're keeping the main thing the main thing. But I think that it is the right approach in that, their window's open. It's going to be open for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to make the playoffs and do well, even if we don't win a World Series, but they continue to do well. If they continue to extend him until he retires. He's, 60 years old? Probably ain't going to be around forever. But
he's been having a lot of fun, too. I feel like if they win one for him, and if they somehow win one this year, he's a lame duck the next year.
they'll
keep him.
They'll keep that's my point.
They'll keep him stringing around. Juan Soto, though, to the Yankees, I did see.
Yeah.
Meh. We knew we weren't getting
that wasn't going to happen.
I wasn't worried about for us, but it's intriguing. That's all,
I'm glad he didn't go to
the match of the Braves or something.
Exactly.
Yep.
Kimbrel.
Oh, yeah.
Kimbrel signed with the Orioles.
Gets a little raise.
1 year, $13 million.
Woo.
Good for them.
Yeah, cool.
Good riddance.
Can't wait to watch him make the playoffs and then lose it because he fucks up in the 8th, 9th inning.
Yeah, I'm not going to miss him at all. That does leave the Phillies with some hole in their bullpen. Say what you will about his playoff performance. He was very effective in a lot of regular season innings for us.
Yeah.
So they got to do something there, but
I feel like if I was one of their fans, you'd kind of talk yourself into it by being like, well, they just used him too much and he wore down.
that's essentially what we did.
Yeah, but
right,
they got
that's what I'm saying. If they just avoid doing that, then maybe you could talk yourself into him.
They got that young cat, though. They probably saw promise in him and felt good about letting him go. Who's the guy that was there? Yeah, they probably were like, you know what?
Dombrowski had this quote on Kerkering, actually.
They probably felt good that he's taking up that Kimbrel spot. Also, people keep predicting Orioles versus Phillies in the World Series next year.
Oh, yeah,
so
we might see him again.
That could work out.
Hey, Craig, we'll see your ass again, dude.
That would rule to
seventh game, bottom of the eighth,
win the World Series against Craig Kimbrel.
Everybody all fucking house him with the little claw too. We'll be doing that again.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, we just go back to
Kimbrel. Yeah, I can see that. It's fun. That would be great.
But yeah, speaking of Kerkering, Dombrowski was very transparent at the winter meetings. It's kind of surprising. He said, "This is Dombrowski speaking. I'll tell you, today I could have made a trade. Somebody would have said, geez, that's a good trade. I could have traded Kerkering for somebody like that today." I think he's referencing a bat. I forget what he's referencing here. But anyway, I said, I don't really want to do that. Because if we're going to have all of these star players, we also have to have some young players that are not making a lot of money. So I think that proves the point that, he figures Kerkering can step in, other young players can step in. That's kind of the Phillies' approach this offseason, he went on to say. The roster is not complete. We're not at that point at all. We'll continue to talk to people and investigate if we can get better. I think there's something we'll do over a time period, but it may not be signing Trey Turner for the type of dollars we talked about last year.
Yeah.
So keeping things mostly status quo, letting the young players get a chance to prove themselves. Kerkering will step in and probably eat a lot of those Kimbrel innings.
Yep.
But like you said,
the young arm that can take it.
Like you said, they ain't done yet, so I expect some moves. But the Sotos, the Shoheis, thank God not the Blake Snells. Who's the other guy I'm thinking of? The Josh Haders. Those deals aren't coming for the Phillies, but that's fine.
No.
Yeah.
All right, move on. There's not much Phillies talk yet. Do the Flyers real quick.
Flyers on low. Yeah.
Touching them for a minute here. Staying good, staying hot. Back-to-back wins against the Penguins.
Yeah, the Penguins look ass.
Yeah, they look pretty ass. That's that whole rivalry is kind of not really existing anymore because both teams are kind of bad.
They're headed in opposite directions. Yeah, it's kind of fun to
the
see.
Flyers are kind of on the up and up, and the Penguins are dwindling down.
Those games are still fun though to beat up on a rivalry.
Oh, it's always fun to beat the Penguins.
Yeah.
I mean, tanking be damned. Anytime you can beat a rival like the Penguins, I don't care.
Yeah,
man.
It feels good.
You do that. And it is just refreshing to see Crosby starting to slow down. Malkin looks extremely slow.
Oh, yeah. Old.
And, Mike Sullivan's been there for a while. You can tell players are starting to... his messaging isn't getting to them the same way that it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Trevor, to your point, that rivalry is kind of dead, but this is something fun I thought we could do. Eagles play the Cowboys, right? Flyers just played the Penguins and swept their ass into home and home. And we got the Sixers played the Celtics on Friday. Every team that's active played their rivals. Power rank them from most or least hated to most hated. Top 3 rivals of Philly sports teams. Who wants to go first? I'll go first.
You go first. You do it.
All right. So first, this rivalry hasn't really been much of a thing lately, so I'm going to go Phillies-Mets. I mean, when the Phillies and Mets are both very good, the rivalry is very intense. But right now, I don't really have a lot of disdain for Mets fans. I mean, the Mets aren't very good. When the Mets were good in the mid-2010s, we weren't very good. But at the same time, there is nothing more annoying than when you watch a Phillies game on TV when they're playing the Mets at CBP.
Oh, yeah.
Or you go to the game.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of Mets fans there. And they just take over our stadium, being all obnoxious. I brought up on the pod many moons ago the Bin Laden game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, seeing all those fights break out, that was intense. I mean, it's always been intense. I remember going to those games when I was like 16, 17 years old. And like tailgating, seeing Mets fans, and Mets fans are talking shit to me. It's like, dude, I'm 17. I'm drinking illegally. Don't be fighting me.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're barking up the wrong tree. You're trying to go to jail for this. But I'd put the Mets 3. 2, I'm going to put the Pittsburgh Penguins. Just have always had a disdain for Crosby. He looks like a rat. Pittsburgh, I mean, even thinking back to when I was growing up, they had Lemieux and Yager. They've always just had these players, which tip my hat to Lemieux, certainly tip my hat to Yager.
Oh, yeah.
But they've just always had these just transcendent talents. And sure, the Flyers, we had our share in the mid-90s. We never had our Crosby or our Malkin. Giroux and Coots are very good, but we're never quite on that level. Was just always jealous of them. They would beat our asses a lot in the playoffs, but we would beat them too. That 2012 series.
Yeah.
But then that series where we went to the game where Couturier tore his ACL and had a hat trick in the pouring down rain on Easter, that was depressing. But their fans are also very obnoxious. Pittsburgh's also I like Pittsburgh as a city, but it's mid as far as Midwest cities go, in my opinion. So
big time.
Number 2. Number 1, gotta be the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Gotta be the Cowboys. They're fans that live in and around the tri-state area. For whatever reason, are Cowboys fans, even though they haven't won anything since the 90s. Anytime their team's halfway decent, come crawling out of the woodwork like a bunch of cockroaches, ready to act like they've been good. Miss me with that. Y'all been asked for 25 years. I mean, the Eagles have won as many Super Bowls in the last 25 years as you won playoff games. So you can go home. Even if you beat us this Sunday, still don't feel any type of way about y'all other than you're very annoying, you suck. And even if you win the division, you ain't going anywhere in the playoffs. So that's my rankings.
I like that ranking. I think we're doing top 3. I think 3 was spot on. I think with the Mets and the Phillies, I think that's always a hated rivalry. Just especially as that New York and Philadelphia connection too. I think rivalries have to deal with local teams as well because the fans are a lot closer to that as well. Philadelphia and New York have had a rivalry just in general. Number 2, I'm gonna say number 2, I'm gonna put Sixers and Celtics.
I consider that.
I think that is a huge, especially
lately.
I think also like in our lifetime, like Boston and this, like that has been our complete kryptonite when it comes to Sixers going anywhere in an era of them being good. Where early 2000s, sure, the Lakers were all this other shit, but like of late now, like the era that we're in right now with Embiid and all that, it's so much. Even regular season games, I hate watching them play Boston, and I hate watching them lose to Boston. Something about it. So I hate the city when we play. I hate the city's ass. You compound the whole winning culture they have up there, and all the fucking snobbiness they have, and everything else they have up there.
The racism.
Yeah, I don't like it. So I'm going to say Celtics and Sixers are huge. Every time there has to be a big win, it seems as though they just keep owning us. And we haven't really been the top dogs of that rivalry yet. So it makes it even more so like that underdog mentality of like, damn, I just fucking hate them even more. You know, like when you get that win, it just feels that much sweeter. Even if it is regular season, you know what I mean? You get that buzzer beater win in the 8th game of the season. It's like, haha, yeah, fuck Boston. For that little day, you feel a little bit better that day.
Yeah.
Number one is really tough for me because I feel like my gut wants to say Dallas, but I will say this, having spent many of Sundays at the Link, and even the vet as a young buck, I will say it's got to be the Giants for me.
I had a feeling you were going to say the Giants.
I don't know. Something about it's the fans too, because like I will say this, even like now, Dallas fans are just soft as shit. So they don't really give you that. Like they don't understand how much we hate them. We know that we hate Dallas. True. I hate Dallas for the love of me. But I will say, if you want you want to feel the hate back, it's the Giants. And I'm talking like Eli Manning. Those games were the best. And I remember games before where like you would have Barber out there running all over us and shit like that against Westbrook and Barber, Eli Manning versus McNabb. I mean, great defenses. Asa Umenyiora, Michael Strahan versus you had Strahan versus John Runyon. You had Brian Dawkins out there. Like those were
Jeremy Shockey, that guy was hateable as hell.
Dirty as shit, and the fans always look like white trash. Like they're just the dirtiest. They're not even New Yorkers. They're like North Jersey people, like just looking shitty as fuck, coming out there with their shit, thinking that they're from New York, but they're really not. Like they're just from Jersey. It's okay. You're not quite from Philly. You're not quite from New York. You're just from Jersey. As a sports fan, not as people, obviously love New Jersey. Not knocking that, but you know, I mean, it's just that funny rivalry that way. And there's been so many sweet games that I've seen that and there's been, I feel like, a lot more meaningful games late in the season. Even now, when the Giants are ass, they always have a Giants game, whether it's around Christmas or end of the year. Shout out Deshaun Jackson, who just retired as an Eagle officially. That game, arguably one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. When we came back and he had that punt return for a touchdown against the Giants. Like there's been Miracle at Meadowland 3 times. You have Jackson, Westbrook, Todd, Herman Edwards, the original one. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's been so many more impactful games that way. So I think number one for me is Eagles-Giants.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
I guess 3 for me would be probably Phillies-Mets. Number 2, I'll go Eagles, Dallas, and 1 I'll go Penguins.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Just like I think for me it's just because we've seen the Penguins in the playoffs so much.
Yeah.
As opposed to some of those other rivalries, and like, yeah, like you mentioned before, that 2012 playoff series, one of the best playoff series I've ever seen in my life. And even before that, in the regular season, leading up to that, like there was that line brawl. I think that may have been the game where like Hartnell was famous for doing little like,
oh yeah,
was that a Hulk Hogan thing, right? Like, yeah.
He's a
just like everyone hated each other. Like the coaches hated each other. Like there, that one game in the regular season where they had that crazy brawl, you had like Pierre Laviolette standing up on the bench, yelling at each other.
Yep.
Like it was insane. And then just like one of the wildest playoff series I've ever seen. Like, like there was one game I think where like Giroux and Couturier both had hat tricks or something, and then there was a game where like the Penguins came back and scored like 8 goals. It was,
I remember that.
One. It was just like absolute like insanity. Like no one could play defense. Like that was back when we still had Brizgalov. He was like,
hell yeah.
Oh, he was
Nothing
all in his
scared
own
me
head.
but Bear in Woods. You're like, what the fuck does that mean?
Marc-Andre Fleury was also playing really bad. It was just like a slop, just like a messy, just intense, like fucking like balls to the wall series. So that for me kind of cemented that like, yeah, like I hate the Penguins more than anybody.
Yeah, and, that did really intensify the rivalry for most of the 2010s.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was a fun little exercise. We'll have to power rank our Midwest cities. It's like, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
We'll do some more power rankings. But That's about it as far as the Flyers are concerned.
Yeah, I guess kind of up against it here, but we can talk real quick about the Sixers.
Yeah, that Celtics game was hilarious.
Celtics game was
Dude, I tell
hilarious.
you
Yeah,
what, that was a phenomenal game.
Even though we lost, that was hilarious.
I was expecting to just like watch the first quarter and be like, all right, enough of this or whatever. But it was worth watching right up until like, I don't know, it was like halfway through the fourth where it kind of got away from them, I guess. Yeah, they were holding it down. Pat Bev had, 26 points or something?
Yeah, he was cooking.
That was the quintessential Pat Bev game. That's why you get Pat Bev. That's why I've been about Pat Bev for 5 years, dude. He was just hooping. He didn't think anything of it. He figured Maxi's out, Joel's out, Oubre's out, Batum's out. I'm here to get buckets. And he was getting buckets.
Yeah.
He took Horford to school a few times. And of course, it's Horford. Pat Bev knows. He's ingrained enough in the city that he knows we all hate Horford. So he probably took it personal. Was like, this is for the city.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to do this for the city.
And on his podcast, too, he's like, people have been telling me throughout my career, like, man, you should end up in Philly one day. Like,
I've been saying this for years.
And
yes, sir.
you've been on that train for a while, but it's funny that he's like, yeah, people tell me for, like, really a lot of my career that I should just land in Philly at one point. And, like, you know what? I did. And honestly, they're like one and the same. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it was great to see him go out there and play. And I don't like saying this a lot, but, like, that was a good loss. Like, they didn't. I put it on, like, as for background. But then, like, when it came to halftime, I'm like, right? This actually is not a bad game right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and
they got Jason Tatum ejected. That was fun.
Yeah, that was so funny, dude.
I mean, that was a great game.
Jaylen Brown looked like shit.
Yeah.
B-Ball Paul took Horford to school a couple
He
times.
was cooking a little bit, too, a little bit. So it was good to see. I mean, it was a good game. I think, too, like, it helped the young guys, too, to see, like, help Nick Nurse to see, okay, what we got. We're going to see this team later in the year, potentially in the playoffs. Let's see what these young bucks got. And they played their ass off, and they played well.
Yeah.
They didn't really get in foul trouble in terrible times. Obviously, second half, fourth quarter slipped up a little bit, but you're playing Boston and like it's going to happen.
Yeah,
but
the refs are going to blow some whistles.
They really held their own for a majority of that game, and that was good to see. It almost was like it was frustrating to Boston Celtics because like they
should have blown us out.
Yeah,
I thought they were going to.
They were only really out Porzingis. They had everybody else there for the most part. I mean, they kind of kept Drew Holiday kind of quiet too. I think he had less than 24 points, which was impressive.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown had a bad game.
Yeah, and
Horford, we exposed Horford, man.
Yeah, he still had his 3 or 4 threes, whatever. But like, I tell you what, that team played scrappy ball with really nobody out there. I mean, that was half that starting offense was their
like
bench.
8 or 9 players the whole game.
Half that starting offense was their bench. So like when you saw the bench come out, I'm like, damn, we got to see what's happening up. What's it called? Melton looked good too.
Yeah, Melton looked great until he fouled out. Yeah, he was playing great. The thing I really liked about the game, you alluded to this when you said they'll see them in the playoffs, is that not that this is a secret to the NBA, but they exposed Horford in the sense that my man can't defend in space.
No.
You have Pat Bev cooking him. B-Ball Paul was cooking him. The problem the Sixers run into with Boston and particularly with Horford every year is that Embiid just tries to the same old, I'm just going to overpower him. I'm just going to back him down. I'm just going to face him up. It's like, no. You need to get him moving in space on some pick and rolls and some pick and pops.
Trip him up a little bit.
And make his old ass have to move around. B-Ball Paul did that.
Because he's a cement block. And like Embiid plays...
He plays into it.
He plays like not an old man, but he plays like old school ball. That way where like he'll go slow, fuck up a little bit. But Horford is built for that. Like you said, you move around a little bit, he gets all goofy up there.
Yeah, so I thought that was enlightening to see. Hopefully the Sixers keep that in mind. They won't play Boston again until like February or March.
Good.
Because they played him so much already. But we'll see what happens in that series, the season series. It'd be nice to tie the series so that any tiebreakers go beyond the head-to-head matchup. And I think it could. I mean, the Sixers, their schedule coming up is cake.
Yeah.
They don't play a winning team until December 22nd. They play 7 games in a row against losing teams.
It's good to ease Oubre back into that kind of schedule too, because obviously he's back, but how back is he in a way? From the injury of whatever happened. I'll kid.
To be determined.
Yeah.
But, it's good to see Embiid coming back after being ill. I also think, Maxey was out. They were both ill. Part of me felt as though, I will say about that Boston game, when they had, most guys that weren't starters in there, that, they kind of just rested guys that game. Where
Oh, for sure. Maxley could have played. He was warming up.
Yeah, I feel like that was a little bit of a, whenever I see, ill on the chart, I'm like, are they
I mean,
that
to be
sick?
fair, you and I were both sick.
Yeah,
Very
we were
sick in
sick.
the last week. Something's going around.
Yeah,
but
well,
I get what you're saying, though. I
I'm
get
just
what you're
saying, my only point is that, I would like to think that maybe Nick Nurse is doing a little bit of that, and they're like, all right, well, yeah, fine, okay, fine, sit out. Let's just see what we got. It's this early in the season, a win or a loss against Boston right now. It's better to have a tough fought loss with most of your backups than to have a hard fought loss with your starters in there, because then they get all defeated. People are like, oh, the Sixers can't beat Boston when they're healthy.
Yeah.
But you show some signs of life. You figure if you have Embiid and Maxey in there, you win that game.
Yeah, they would have blown him out
So,
probably. Yeah.
you feel better that way going yeah, we could have fucked them up that game. You got more coming at, because they're probably using more shit to beat you than you are to beat them with backup. So,
Yeah.
I like the little psychology of it. It fucked me up. I'm still messed up about it.
It was, like I said, it was a fun game. What other Sixers notes I have? Embiid, 50 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 blocks.
Pretty good.
I didn't even
Pretty
really
good.
get that excited
That's an
about
okay
it.
stat line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I was more upset that the game was as close as it was last night. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to have a discussion about do we take him for granted, but I know we're up against it. Y'all got any other Sixers notes? I have a couple notes from what Dave was talking about last week.
Not much.
I think they're in a prime position to make a good little run here. That's all I'll say. I think, like you said, 7 losing teams. Can't get too complacent with playing that when you see it on the stretch, because people are going to play scrappy and want to beat you and all that. But I think that they have a good chance to, this is the time to rack up them wins when they're easy presented to you. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat and give it a good shot to really good teams that you play. So just take care of business these 7 games.
Yeah.
Stay healthy, take care of business.
Could end up in the 1 seed when this stretch is done.
Yeah, they're doing all right.
That's my hope. But, all right. So, yeah, a couple notes. The notes I didn't get to. I guess we'll hit on the Sixers one first. I had promised this Josh Harris rant for a while. Dave kind of said a lot of what I was going to say. So, shout out to Dave. Killed it. Couple things he did not mention. Reasons why Josh Harris is an asshole. Y'all remember when the pandemic first started and Josh Harris was trying to cut people's pay? People selling tickets and things like that. Just regular old staffers for the Sixers. He was trying to cut their pay. And he was going to until Embiid stepped up and was like, yeah, you know what? That's not fair. I'll pay y'all salaries.
Yeah.
And then Josh Harris was like, oh, I can't have my millionaire player show me up as a billionaire. Okay, that whole deal's off.
Yeah.
He's such a rich asshole, man. This one, y'all remember Hahnemann Hospital?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He was
part owner of that.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Just let it go to shit. Sold it. Pandemic starts a few months later. We need more hospitals. Can't use Hahnemann.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
What a prick.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
And then, this isn't as serious as the other 2 things, but it's more of a Sixers thing. Hiring Elton Brand instead of hiring a real GM in that offseason.
That was a weird move.
Yeah.
And letting us draft Mikal Bridges and trading him for Zaire Smith, who almost died from a sesame seed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
he
that
had a hand in that, dude. That wasn't Brett Brown, the GM. That was probably Josh Harris saying, yeah, Brett, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, stay out of this business.
Yeah.
Go run a team and try to do it well instead of trying to buy multiple teams in the same division, in the same region.
He planted the seed on that one.
He's an asshole, man. His entire tenure with the Sixers been marred with drama. Some of it's out of his control. The Colangelo thing.
Oh.
I mean,
those are some fun times, I will
that's
say.
in his control in the sense that he didn't have to let the NBA force Hinkie out, bring in this Brian Colangelo. Then the whole thing backfired with this whole burner accounts. The burner accounts aren't his fault.
That shit was
but
hysterical, though, we'll say.
That was
shit was
wild,
funny.
dude.
Yeah. That shit I mean, I will say, not for nothing, that was great. That was good TV,
That
at
was
least.
wild. What else has he done? Drafting Markelle Fultz wasn't really his fault. The Mikal Bridges thing I touched on. This whole arena thing, y'all had a good conversation about it. I was going to say that malls are dead. I mean, kids don't want to go to malls anymore. Why the city spent money revamping the gallery in 2019 is completely beyond me. I mean, certainly the pandemic didn't help, right? But,
Hell no. Yeah.
dude,
Damn, that did suck.
kids ain't going to malls. Kids can play games online with each other. They're not going somewhere
now
where...
society.
And now kids can't go to malls.
Yeah.
Well, at least not that mall.
Yeah, I mean, there's creepers out. There's people ODing on fentanyl on the streets.
Yeah.
Kids ain't going to no malls,
Hey,
dude.
man, it builds character.
Hey, made us cooler, but yo, I will say that the arcade round one's banging, dude.
That's what I'm saying. That shit's
But
popping off. It's got a great arcade.
the rest of the mall's ass, and you know, you guys had this stadium conversation. I'm not gonna have that, but yeah. I mean, Dave said most of my Josh Harris stuff. I'm not going to piggyback off him too much. Those are just my opinions that he did not mention. What else we got in here? Oh, I think this is the last couple things. Y'all are talking about an Uncle Joe. You got an Uncle Joe. Dave
Multiple
got an
Uncle Joes.
Trevor, you don't have one.
No.
Do you have an uncle anything that begins with a J?
John.
Okay. Yeah, I got an Uncle James. Don't have an Uncle Joe. So, not everyone has an Uncle Joe, even though that's what y'all were saying. Don't be over here fabricating things.
Time out now. Dave was saying everyone's got Uncle Joe. I was like, yeah, probably got Uncle
Well,
Joe.
Dave, don't be fabricating things.
Yeah. We're giving that statement 5 Pinocchios. Total lie. There's not everyone has an Uncle Joe.
Yeah. Listeners, viewers, if you know what? I'm going to make this an Instagram poll.
It should be a poll.
I'm going to make this a poll on our Instagram and my personal. Do you got an Uncle Joe? We'll see what the results say next week.
Well, now, time out, though. I did think, though, he did say also an Uncle Joe or a Joe in the family at the end.
I don't think I have a Joe in the family.
If you look it back.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, I'm just saying.
I don't think I have a Joe.
I got like 8 Joes. I give you one.
Okay, I'll take a Joe. What else do I got? Oh, this is the last thing. Trevor, I'm glad you asked Dave if he had anything to plug. Dave, that was a weak plug, dude. One show. I know you'd be booking shows all day, every day. You could have mentioned, I got 5 shows lined up at these venues. One show. You got to do better next time.
Weak sauce.
And, Trevor, the one thing I asked you to ask him, you didn't even say.
Oh, yeah.
I asked you to ask him the origin of him posting on Instagram with the Bozo clown mask doing his predictions. I'm so curious of how that became a
He
thing.
did mention it too.
But he didn't tell the origin because no one asked.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
you didn't know it yet, but that's why I said it in our group message and it did not come up. So, Dave, next time we got to have you on when I'm here. You'll see how a podcast really runs on structure, even though this episode's probably like 2 hours.
we'll get the video running right too this time.
But we'll have you back on and we'll get you to tell the story of the Bozo origin. And that will do it for my notes. Y'all did okay without me?
Yeah.
Dave held it down.
Yeah.
Y'all
did
two
all right.
get about a 6 out of 10. Dave gets an 8.
All right.
Hey,
Averages
I'll
out
take
to
6. It's better than a 5.
Averages out to a solid 7.5.
That's
6,
a C.
something like that.
C's
Yeah,
get
it's not
degrees,
bad.
baby.
Yeah. It's good enough for community college.
It's good enough for the Eagles' offense performance. I'll take that.
We hope so.
Fucking yeah, Sean McDermott. You know, we got a lot of injuries this week. We're really depleted, and
it's hard to complete the mission when you only have 2 guys on board.
Yeah,
not the third
Oh,
guy.
you needed the third terrorist?
You didn't have the third guy on board on the mission.
But you know who did a lot with the little was a man named Ted Kaczynski. This guy, he was just living out in the little shack in the woods. He still managed to build all those bombs.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why
That's
we
quite
can't
impressive.
run in here and beat this Ravens team, even though we're down our top 2 corners.
We just gotta start airing out bombs.
Yeah.
Or ground, because USPS does do ground delivery.
Yeah, you could hit him with that
Hit
anthrax.
him with a ground bomb. Hit it with it.
Dude, hit him with that anthrax.
over the
That's
top.
playing the long game.
This is before TikTok. We're talking. You know what I mean? It's out there.
Yeah. Well, I guess that'll just about do it for us here tonight, everybody. Please leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcast. Give us a follow on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe on YouTube. Send us an email at citywidepod@gmail.com. And from all of us here at the Citywide, good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Peace.
Fuck the Cowboys.